Good morning, Dubai. How are you doing? Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Lovin Daily. And we're going into a 4-day week, which makes it so much easier to get out of bed. Where are you watching from? Alibaba's like nodding. Yes, it does make it easier, doesn't it?
It does.
4 days. So sweet. We have a short weekend. Let me know what you got up to this weekend. Today on the show, as always, we're talking about the top stories that made headlines. And last night, if you've seen it, if you're watching it, were you up late? UFC title champ Khabib has announced his retirement. We'll tell you why in a second. We're also going to talk about the latest COVID-19 updates in the UAE, why it's actually going to be easier and safer to travel thanks to a new travel path rolled out by Emirates. And then finally, we'll be talking about cheers for iPhone buyers at the Dubai Mall stores yesterday. Love to get your thoughts on it. But we will quickly jump into our top story. Khabib was victorious yesterday. He is the undefeated UFC champ, and what a night it was for UFC. No one saw this coming. Khabib has now retired from MMA after his win over Justin Gaethje to keep his lightweight title. As I said, he's undefeated in his sport, and now he's basically promised his mother he would stop fighting following the death of his father from COVID-19. And you can see the video beside us. I'd love to play it. If you're watching on Facebook, we have Khabib here speaking beside us straight after his fight. Can we get the sound up on it?
Yes.
You won't be able to hear it on Instagram, but I'll give you a little rundown.
I'll give it.
He basically said, I promised my mother this was going to be the last fight. I only want one thing from
It was my last fight.
I want to be
And no way I'm gonna come.
Fighter in the world.
We're good to go with the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Better than me.
It was my last fight. And no way I'm gonna come here without my father. It was first time when,
I'm gonna get you.
after what happened with my father, when UFC called me about Justin, I talked with my father, my mother, 3 days. She don't wanna I go fight without father, but I promise her it's gonna be my last fight.
Can you give a quick recap? Because I wasn't able to hear it. I want Instagram to hear what was said.
I could hear it as well. But I think I saw it on social media. He's like, he promised his mom that he'll stop fighting, and this was his last fight, and he'll keep his word.
So we know that his dad passed away in July from complications due to COVID-19. I guess he had this conversation with his mother. Could you imagine? Like, this is so emotional. You can kind of see the emotion and hear it in his voice, because his mother just obviously didn't want him to fight, or I don't know. And he dedicated all of the training that went into this fight. He dedicated the fight to his dad, and he said this is just the last one. It must have been just a heartbreaking decision for him and his mother and the family. He said it was a 3-day conversation nearly, and now it's done. And we were speaking before, Alibaba is a huge UFC fan, and you said he's not the type of fighter to announce his retirement and then come back later. It seems like he's the type of person like this is it for him.
He's a completely different breed of a fighter, once in a generation. He's on the top of the Mount Rushmore of mixed martial arts fighters.
Incredible.
And in both in ring and out of the ring, his personality really shines over millions and millions of people.
100%. Like, he's so loved here, and he has been for the last couple of years. Every time he visits, he's treated like royalty here in the UAE. And I remember he stood out to me when he was kind of sparring back and forth with Conor McGregor before that fight. And I said that his personality, he clearly kind of took the high road whenever he's being like goaded in to whatever McGregor was like throwing at him. And he was just kind of not taking any of it, always took the high road.
Exactly.
And what did you say, once in a generation?
Yeah, once in a generational talent.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that was his final fight, happened on the bubble in Yas Island, which is incredible. But more information if we get more on that later to come in the day. Moving on to the next story, latest COVID-19 updates in the UAE. The numbers in the last 24 hours. So we've seen 124,000 tests happened in the last 24 hours, 1,491 new cases, and 1,826 recoveries. So now the total recoveries in the UAE now stand at 116,894. The total confirmed cases now stand at 123,764. Also this weekend, Emirates are making it safer for us to travel if we want to. I think this is really interesting. So they've introduced this travel path. It's a biometric travel path. I feel like it's the type of thing that they've been coming towards over the last couple of years anyway, but maybe with COVID-19, it's just kind of made that journey a little bit faster. So, okay, Ali. Sorry, Ali's kind of crawling around through the lights at the moment. Is everything okay?
Yeah, just fixing the camera.
We're good. So this is a new contactless travel path. It's only at Dubai Terminal 3 at the moment. It basically means shorter queues, less document checks. There's new touch points. I'm assuming they call them touch points, but I'm assuming it's a no touch point because you're not going to be touching anything. Your face and eyes will be scanned. There's a smart tunnel, no passport stamps, self-check-in, baggage drop. We're basically talking about traveling right now. We're doing an absolute minimum. We are cautious about getting on airplanes. We're cautious about airports themselves because so many people are going through them. And this is Emirates taking the initiative to make it as safe as possible. If you need to travel, you'll feel that little bit safer. So all of the updates are in that written yesterday by Survey if you want to check it out online. We'll move into our final story. There were cheers at Dubai Mall stores yesterday for the first person to buy the Apple's iPhone 12 in the UAE. So we know this was officially launched before, and it was released in Dubai stores yesterday for the first time. And as you might expect, or as we've seen over the last couple of years, there were queues outside the door, and the first customer was at the door at 8 a.m. and he was met by cheers from Apple staff when he made the purchase. This is so interesting because if they release something like if a Dyson releases a new hairdryer, people love them. They're that kind of great marketing, quite pricey. No one's cheering for you. What is it about Apple products that there's people cheering, that there's people queuing out the door?
They're a family, they're a community, you can say. You know, each Apple user, like they know, like they can connect. Like I don't know, it's what Apple has done to us.
True. So the video, if you're watching on Facebook, I actually took this at Mall of the Emirates store yesterday at 4 p.m. and there was still a queue there. And I say this all the time, I'm a Samsung phone user till I die, but I got into the queue because I was with James, my boyfriend, and he wanted to check out the Apple iPhone. He wanted to see the Mini, which, by the way, is not available for pre-order until November 6th. Oh. Same with the 12 Pro Max. So they're available for pre-order November 6th, and they're expected to hit stores in the UAE November 13th. But so as we got into the queue, it was long because of social distancing. Really well organized, but as we got closer, Apple staff came up to us and they're like, "Why are you here?" And we said to check out the iPhone Mini, and they're like, "That's not there. And if you want to see the new device, you can get into a waiting list. So to come back at 8:45 p.m. And we're basically because there's so many people that want to see it in store. There's as well as this queue, there's also a time thing that you need to be queuing for. So basically if you wanted to go and buy a laptop or an iPad or a new case, then you can go into the store. But if you wanted to see the new merch, which is the iPhone 12, you had to get into like another waiting list. And I was just like,
oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. But we did see cheers in Yas Island, in Yas Mall in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai Mall of the Emirates, queues for this iPhone. And it's here, it's finally here. And you know, I think each to their own. In terms of tech. It really is though, because people just for some reason, because I was debating yesterday, Apple, Samsung, we always do it, and it's like, why do you prefer an iPhone and why do you prefer a Samsung, and why Oppo is new on the market? You see those the Mo Salah posters. I'd never seen Oppo before, and now it's everywhere, and then I'm like, why am I not buying this Oppo? Because I reckon they're all pretty similar, but people just like the style, you like this design, you like the size, you like the colors, you like the charging port it has, you like the fact that it has AirPods, whatever it may be. Anyway, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. We'll leave you there. Those are our top stories. We're here with you every single weekday morning except for Thursday because we have a long weekend, which you're so excited about. Guys, those are top stories. Back with you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a great day and we'll see you then. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.